Hello and welcome back to the Creatures Comedy Podcast. This week we've got Raul Kohli.
Hiya.
What's up, dude? Thank you for coming in.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, this is like a brief window that you're in Manchester because you're everywhere right now.
Yeah, I got ADHD, bro.
Is that
I
what
make
it
quick
is?
decisions. Like, bro, I was meant to be home for like a week this week, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's going to be real chill. I can get a lot done. I'm doing a lot of like work on my house. And then like the next thing I knew, like I didn't even realize I'd done it. It's kind of like these fever dreams come over me. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I've like booked a ticket to Marseille away, which is like the sketchiest away game you can go to. Like the club have told us not to wear colours. We're going to get stabbed, not to leave a particular area of town. Like, I'm going,
really?
Yeah, like, and I'm not tough, but I'm going to this football hooligan game because why the hell not? It's the one that lands on my birthday. I always go to away game on my birthday. And then me and a French magician who looks like Jesus are going on a road trip around the French Riviera. We're going like, yeah, for a full week. And then I'm in Paris the weekend. I'm going to go see Moulin Rouge with my girl and then go home for like one day, and I've got a gig, so I'm not going to get any of that housework done.
Yeah,
That's me.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I had a week off, but all of a sudden I have this adventure that I'm doing.
That's absolutely me. I'm going on this huge magic adventure. Like the Fringes here was carnage because like I initially signed up to do 3 shows a day, and had I had those 3 shows, that was going to be a real relaxed Fringe by my standards, or at least by last year's standards, because it was going to be like 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 10 p.m., right?
Oh,
That's
gorgeous.
it. But then when I was in Australia, I decided I want to do themed shows because like that seems to be what sells in Australia. So I came up with this idea for the history comedy show and comedians drinking games, and I applied for them as well. I didn't think I'd get them all. I thought like, they'd just be like, yeah, maybe you don't do Cole and the Gang this year. But they were like, oh yeah, here's all 5. And so I like woke up at 9 a.m. Like my first show started at 11. And then like my last show ended at 1. I was in bed at like 3. I was on like a Margaret Thatcher level of like sleep, like 3-4 hours every night, just no drinking, just going and doing the shows, like just losing my mind, tired. But then on my days off, I knew that would be too much. So I took Wednesdays off. But I had decided to run this mountain rave on the top of Arthur's Seat at 5 in the morning on the last day. And so because of that, I had to spend every Wednesday like organizing that, like getting the location and learning to DJ. So I never really had a day off at the Fringe. I just don't give myself space to breathe, Evan. But
Dude.
Had a couple of gigs here, swung in for 24 hours, and I had a belt a night, to be fair.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me, man.
I love that. It's like you just had your life, and then you met a genie, and you're like, actually, I want to do all of these things. Give me the power to do it.
Yep, yeah, exactly that. I just run on a lot more energy than most people, man. I think that's ADHD's superpower. Like the curse of it is that you make all these decisions and you get overwhelmed, but the superpower is you can actually get quite a lot done. Because I'm back, and it's just like more of the same. It's like a relaxed weekend for me when I get back, and that is like Newcastle hosting Red Raw Wednesday, driving to York and back to do a gig on Thursday, then going up to Aberdeen and doing a weekend there and coming back and then doing a birthday meal on the Sunday with my parents.
Jesus.
And then I've got 2 days in the house, and then I'm back to Manchester for like 6-7 days doing the Frog.
Yeah, even like hearing all of this is just making me tired.
I get that a lot.
I
get that a lot.
I was up to 5 in the morning here, so now like all this is happening. I'm like, I need another nap. I need another nap before we do this.
Naps are important, man. You can't do all this stuff without naps, bro. Disco naps are the key.
Oh yeah, disco naps are so
That's actually what Cristiano Ronaldo claimed his success was based on, the fact that he likes naps.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I'm giving you the advice of
Is he
a
Spanish?
rapist, but what?
Cristiano Ronaldo?
He's
Italian.
Portuguese, bro.
Portuguese.
He's Portuguese,
I don't
bro.
know football, bro.
Well,
Because when you were talking about hooliganism in Marseille, I thought it's gone, hooliganism.
In Europe, it's still like a thing.
So in the UK, it's like eradicated.
In the UK, it's been priced out. Like,
Oh, really?
I think it's been priced out. I think the game has changed generally. Like in the 80s, it was all like running street battles, but then the game became like obviously you had Hillsborough, and you had the one in Europe with the Liverpool fans, and then as well as Thatcher cracking down on them with banning orders. And you know, like when one of the most surveilled people don't realize this, but the United Kingdom is one of the most surveilled countries on planet Earth. It's like Singapore, North Korea, England.
Yeah, it happened after like the G20s, right? They put like all the cameras up.
Yeah, but also it's because of the football hooliganism. Like we're way more surveilled than Canada. My Canadian cousin's like, yo, you got cameras everywhere, bro. And I'm like, I didn't realize people thought of us like North Korea. But that's all a response to like the football hooliganism. That's where like sort of Hardfire's album, The Stars of CCTV, sort of derives from.
Really?
But what happened was across Europe, I mean, a lot of these Europeans sort of saw how England did it and kind of like copied it, and it's kind of not been as stomped out there as it has here. But it tends to be really bad where essentially you sort of like, there's a bit of it's got a lot in common with the Taliban and cocaine cartels.
Hold on. You're taking this car on a winding road.
Well, let me bring it back because it's a winding road, but this is a beautiful drive through the mountains of of Naples, Afghanistan,
All right.
Colombia, Marseille, and it'll come back to England.
I'm excited for the views. I'm in the passenger seat. Take us on a drive, baby.
It's kind of these places where like there's just a lack of governance, where there's like huge like sort of working class societies and like big tower blocks. So
Yeah.
Naples is a good example. You have like the famous La Velle. Then like Marseille, they've got like this beachfront, and then apparently there's these favelas right next to it.
Yeah, man.
Mexico, Colombia is the same. The Taliban is the same. It's these sort of places where you got a lot of like sort of young men without much purpose who aren't really in the system. There's a lack of governance, and it's like who's putting food on the table? Who's making them feel like they're valued in Pakistan, Afghanistan, or these areas? It's the Taliban. In Colombia and Mexico, it's the drug gangs.
Okay.
In Naples, it's cartels, sorry. In Naples, it's also like the Camorra, the mafioso. And in Marseille, that's sort of happening with the football hooliganism. And in Naples as well, gives these young men a purpose. But even like during the pandemic in Naples, like the government's so crap in the south of Italy that like they weren't getting any, like you were like, you're not allowed at your house, but they weren't getting an assistant. So who was bringing the old women food? It was the mafia. They had like the little runners, the little 16-year-olds on scooters dropping like food off to the kids.
You hear that all the time with like biker gangs, like doing like community efforts. Like even the cartels, like Pablo Escobar was giving back to the community.
Yeah, he built like football pitches and shit like that, and like puts kids in school. But it's like when there's a lack of governance, you get some guy who's like kind of, and like the cartels are a bit similar, and to like colonialists, you know what I mean? Like they went somewhere further away, caused like untold harm there with say crack cocaine or whatever, and then like got that money, and then we're like, oh shit, well I should do some shit for my community. I got too much money. Like what do? I build football pitches, like I build a zoo with hippos. You know what I mean? I think this is what ISIS is missing really, because like no, because they do a fair bit of community stuff, but they're a bit boring, aren't they? Like because the cartel, like it's kind of sexy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they got their own Netflix series and that. Like, do you know what I mean? And like they got like people sing songs about them in the hood. Do you know what I mean? But ISIS, they outlaw songs, innit? Like that's I mean,
do they?
You're not allowed to, like a strict form of like Wahhabist Islam is like it's against, you can't, music is like a sin, it's haram, bro. That's a very strict interpretation, like the strictest, like most Taliban-esque like interpretation of it. Yeah.
But even if it's like, terror songs. Like,
oh no, that's different because that's fine because that's for Allah, innit? Like,
okay,
halal.
cool.
Yeah.
Because like the IRA got some that slap, like.
Yeah, but that's why the IRA, again, they're more romantic than ISIS and the
Exactly.
Taliban. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I think ISIS need to do if they want like their own like Netflix series. You know what I mean?
Also,
they gotta like get songs, sell us cocaine, build a zoo, put some hippos in.
I also need to address something. The algorithm is not going to let anybody watch this podcast. I need you to know any clip off this is not going anywhere.
5 minutes in, I think that was actually really. That was actually really unique and interesting point dissecting the role of a lack of governance and what happens to young men in various disparate nations. That's great anthropology, right?
I'm just saying, we're on this drive. We're having a great time. Nobody's following us. Like,
when I was 14, I watched the Mexican cartel behead somebody on my Facebook. So
oh, Jesus.
come on,
I'm so glad you said
let's
Facebook.
Let's get back to genuinely. Like, remember those videos and stuff? And then they were just like, oh, no, we're not. Like, did you see the court case where, is this going on social, like on Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah,
Oh,
this wasn't just for my personal collection.
I thought maybe, TikTok might do better because we're not cussing out TikTok.
Yeah, we'll put it on TikTok. Like, it'll go on all of them.
I love the Chinese Communist Party. Anyway.
Dude, that's sometimes I'll go on Reddit and be like, I love China. Like, just trying to cover my bases.
I don't know how to get around this algorithm, okay? And I love Zuckerberg. But anyway, there was like, he did face, and didn't they lose a court case where it was like they were accused of essentially allowing or helping spread the misinformation that led to the genocide of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. And they like lost that court case, or the court case proved like they were pretty much like complicit in it. And it's Time put out an article recently as well as that.
That's
like
insane.
There's some like
because like how would Zuckerberg even be aware at that level? Like when you reach that big of a global thing, you can't keep an eye on every geopolitical situation.
Well, okay, so maybe incorrect to say Zuckerberg, but Facebook or Meta as a company. Yeah, like Facebook, Meta as a company. But like, I don't know, like if I create something, like I want to have some control on it and make sure it's not
you have to have
a
control.
genocide. You know what I mean? I feel like, okay, maybe we could get some engineers in India to stop that. Like that seems like a priority. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course, and I believe that. I just think that like it's just too out of control. Like it's taken over too much.
Yeah, but if you let that genie out of the bottle, then you get back
it's
to
your
that bottle.
responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
For
Do you know
sure.
what I mean? And instead of banning me for cracking a joke about World Book Day, I got banned for 2 years from inviting people to my page because I cracked a joke about World Book Day, which I thought was funny. The joke was like, "Oh, happy World Book Day! I'm a huge proponent of books, because books have allowed me to put myself in the mind of others I can't readily identify with and understand their point of view. Here are 3 of my favorites. And the first one was Charlotte Crosby of Geordie Shore fame's Me, Me, Me.
Okay.
The second was Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf.
I knew that one was coming.
The third was Osama bin Laden's autobiography. And then I got banned for 2 years from inviting people on the page because they said I was glorifying 9/11. So that's where I'm at with my career. I'm like the only Indian who can't do IT.
As terrorist attacks go, it's goated. It's one of the best.
It's the number one. Yeah,
It's for sure.
I mean? Like it. Yeah, like the rest, like you
not number 11?
or something. Do you know what I mean? This was like there was a lot of like having organized my mountain rave. Like I can understand. Like that was a logistic nightmare. Do you know what I mean? I had to get people from different parts of the world all coming together at this one spot at the same point. I had to get people bringing up speakers. I had to get people bringing up DJ booths. I had to bring up vapes, water. I had to get Jesus coming over at the right time. Everyone was coming up at 5, but I was bringing people from different worlds all together at the same place. And that was what happened on 9/11. And that's hard, bro. So props to the logistics.
All right, let's move away from 9/11. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Edinburgh rave that you did, because I saw it online and I was like, this is atrocious. I hated it because I thought you did it at the tippity top of the mountain. And I've been somebody who's like I wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what the vibe was.
So
when I saw it, I was like, man, like cranking out music that not everybody's like up
No. We did it at the bottom, bro. Like, so we gave them something to watch, but they were still entitled to their. They can talk. They can mock Silcox and me out handing out the boiled eggs and such.
Yeah.
We did it at the bottom to make sure we weren't. But if people want to run down, which many people did, they could come and join. But if not, they had a very cool thing to watch as the sun
100%. When I first saw it, right, I saw just like stories, so I didn't know where it was.
Okay, yeah.
So when I saw it, I'm like, oh man, like you're doing it on the top, like that's like communal space.
No.
But yeah, it makes so much sense. Did you do it in like the pit where like the both mountains kind of connect?
No, that's what I was thinking. But to get the like decks and the speakers up there would have been mighty fine. But also, actually, where we did it, and props to my boy Ethan, one of the founders of DBT, the rave company I did it with. He really picked the location, and he absolutely nailed just the positioning of it, because it just created this sort of amphitheater.
Yeah.
Like there's one in Cornwall on the water. It's a bit like that. There's one in Greece where it's just sort of like it feels like you're in an amphitheater. But behind us, we had the sea, the city, and the sunrise. And before the sunrise, we had like Jupiter and Venus out. Like I've got this Star Tracker app. Like the stars looked unbelievable. It felt like a celestial moment. And we had like 2 different kind of sunrises. One where it was like pink. I'll send you some clips, maybe you can like edit them over the top of this. But like one where it went pink, and then when the sun came out and like Jesus arrived, it fully like felt like I was calling it the Sermon on the Mount and trying to give it these sort of theological ideas, but it really kind of felt the vibe. It was. So
did you have a guy fully dressed as Jesus start walking up the mountain at a certain time?
Yeah, he's the guy I'm going road tripping with around the French Riviera. He's a magician, and like part of his thing is he's from France. Part of his thing is he pulls his head and he says, "You guys recognize me? You've been doing magic tricks all this time." And they're like, "No." And he like pulls his hair back, and then he's like, "What about now?" And everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Jesus!" And so like you imagine all these people at the last day of the Fringe are running on that energy, they're running on whatever else. They're absolutely mashed, and they're all dancing. And then there's this beautiful clip. Like I've got it from so different angles, which everyone kind of stops in the middle of my DJ set, and they're just like, Jesus. And then he just seems to start running to the floor. Everyone's like, how did this happen? But that was like meticulous planning. I'd sent him with a bunch of like business cards and my assembly pass to the assembly bar, right?
Yeah.
And I just told him to walk around and tell everybody it's a Sermon on the Mount and to follow Jesus. Now, actually, what I'd done beforehand, but this part didn't come to fruition, was me and him went to shops beforehand and we bought like 24 litres of water. And I left them behind a rock, but behind the route that I take, always up to like Arthur's Seat. I left it behind that rock, but this was his first time in Edinburgh. And on the way back, he got lost and like lost the water. But the whole thing was like, you know how he turns the water into wine? Or, like,
of course.
He turns one fish into like 1,000 fish. It was meant to be like that. Like, I'll take you to the Sermon on the Mount. And they're like, oh, look, magically 24 bottles of water have appeared. But he got lost.
Okay,
I don't know what happened to those 24 bottles of water.
Okay, because you said 24 liters of water.
24-litre bottles.
How is he going to carry that?
No, so basically it was right at the bottom. We carried them right at the bottom. And then
so
everybody else was going to turn. Everyone could have one coming up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, hydration is key. So
hydration is key.
It was key. Like it was also important. So like if people are going to come and have a dance and take pingers or whatever, we've got to care for one another. That's the point of the rave. And if everyone's got a litre of water, I don't care taking the expense on that. It means everyone's safe and sound and no one's going to dehydrate up there. But Jesus fucked up. It was quite weird because I was getting texts off and being like, I don't know if I'll make it. My social battery's dying. I'm like, you are Jesus! Jesus of Nazareth, what do you mean your social battery is dying?
It's for the people.
He's like, nobody's listening to me. And to be fair, like, nobody knew who he was. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
the assembly is, you got all these VIPs, these celebs, and this guy just trying to get attention dressed as Jesus. You'd be like,
There's a
what a
sermon on
freak.
the mountain.
And he's on his own as well, yeah. But eventually everybody came up at 5, and like when they came up, they were just like, what the fuck? They weren't expecting it, and it was a
Yeah.
very, very beautiful morning.
What time did you
for
get up there
everybody
to set up?
involved. We went up at about 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was like
Okay.
waves. We set up a first wave of people, and they really struggled getting stuff up. And then I got a call from it. It sounded like he was at war. He was like, "We need vapes, we need cigarettes, we need water, we need toilet rolls." Someone's taking a shit. Somebody shit themselves. Like, am I losing people? People are dropping out. People don't want to carry out. So then I had to go back to the counting house. I got 5 other people. I got this guy from San Francisco. I forget the name of, but he just wanted to lift heavy things. He was quite a jacked guy.
Yeah.
A fella from Aberdeen. I think his name was Robert or Richard Sander, the Estonian comedian
Yeah.
we all know and love. He came with me. Alexander Popov. He was a fallen soldier. Alexander Popov is this fascinating character who was a former... he's the son of like a special Marines troop in Estonia. He's a former bouncer. He's ran for like a seat as like the mayor of Tallinn or something as well. He's a professor of human rights and he does comedy. And he's like a big jack guy. And he helped, but then he twisted his ankle. And then I was up there and I was like, "Bro, where are you? Thank you so much for helping us get stuff." And he's like, "I rolled my ankle. I had to go home." I was like, "Oh my God, we have like fallen soldiers. People got injured doing this."
Yeah.
But once we got it all up there at 1 a.m., there was a small group of us, then a few people who'd heard via like the WhatsApp group of the DBT chat that it was happening. And then like a few like Kyle and that, they were like the third wave. Or fourth wave, I would say. They started coming up once I started sending people like, "Guys, where are you? This party's popping off." That was about 4 a.m. And then just after 5 and the sun's rising, that's when everybody came from assembly, snaking their way up the top. And we're like, what on earth is happening down there? That is cool as hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. What happened was like a few years ago, I went to one of their raves on Cramond Island.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. It was in a fortress. And like, for the sake of entertainment, I took a tab of acid. But I didn't actually take a tab of acid because that would be illegal. I'm doing this to, you know, make the story sexier.
Yeah. Help the algorithm. Yeah.
I had a couple of cans of Carlin, and I looked at the water, and like I just kept looking at the water as my mate's DJing in this cool castle, and my brain just kept going, "You're exactly in the universe. You're exactly where the universe means you to be." And I had the best time. The next year, I went up off a seat and I had a brilliant time. I just thought, there's nothing here to actually, like, you know, you sit, you chat. Mark Silcox hands out his boiled eggs, but like, there's nothing actually much more than this. Like, imagine if you could bring what we did on Cramond Island to this, and then that was 2 years in the making because I tried to do it last year. But the guys who run the rave were at a wedding. And then this year, just everything came, just everything, we got everything right. It just, some things went wrong, but for the most part, it went as perfect as it could have gone, particularly because you can't write the sky. Jupiter, Venus,
can't
the
write the
sun
sky.
rises.
Yeah.
And it was everything I wanted it to be. So as I say, just like 9/11.
But it is crazy how much that's building, like that final night of the Fringe, because it's always been a thing.
I think it's been a thing, because that's it. My friends who doing the rave were like, "Bro, 5 a.m., like, we're trusting you. If nobody comes, like, I was like, please just trust me. I have to believe in
everybody
me."
comes.
But they're like, "5, they're like, could I do 1 a.m.? Like, a lot of people who are going to come from the rave side of things who don't do comedy, they were like, "Yo, we're going to go up at like 8 p.m. Let's do a sunset rave instead." And I'm like, "Bro, no, like, I can't change like half a century of Fringe tradition." Everybody goes up at 5 a.m. And if you want all these weird clowns and shit like that, because people would turn up in wizard hats and stuff like that, all sorts of nuts performer. Like, I see Dan Tiernan in there just having a fucking ball. Like, so many different performers and so many people dressed to the nines, looking absolutely crazy. Like, turned up.
Yeah, everybody's just getting rid of their props. I remember
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
gave me like a 3-foot dildo that I brought up one year.
Exactly. And they're just like, "Let's go up there with whatever we've got left from the Fringe." And I was like, "You just have to trust me." And when 5 a.m. hit and everybody came up, I was like, "Oh, thank God." Do you know what I mean? Because everything was riding on my head and on my heart until that moment. And then I was like, "Yeah, we did it. We absolutely did it. It was totally worth it." And hopefully, weather allowing, we'll do it for many more years to come.
I think usually the final night's never, like, I've never had a bad weather night on that night.
Same, but like, I think also, but I think also, like, I think that's worrying generally speaking, because the Fringe used to be cold.
Oh, are we talking like global warming?
Bro, like, it used to be
Yeah,
cold,
yeah.
bro. It used to be a mixed bag, that Fringe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You come out in a coat and a t-shirt and an umbrella, just in case, you know, like, because it would start pissing it down 1 minute, then it'd be windy, then it'd be all right. But like, this Fringe this year was too hot, bro. Every day was boiling.
Really? And it's
Like,
not good with those
every day
venues.
was sweating, bro.
Yeah.
On stage, it was not a great experience. You know,
Yeah.
it was too hot, this Fringe. Every day was boiling, and there was no, like, sort of typical Edinburgh weather. I mean,
Okay.
the warnings to send you for your first Fringe where they're like, just bear in mind it may be August, but this is Edinburgh, bring a coat. You didn't need to bring a coat at all this year.
That's why I think Manchester's like a perfect place to lay down roots, Because as global warming starts affecting, this is going to be a beautiful place to live.
No, you're mental, you. Are you mad?
What do you mean?
Nah, bro. Because I remember
It's high. It's not going to be.
No. So I remember when I moved to Manchester, I was baffled me because all these people and all these southern friends of mine would be like, oh, the weather's atrocious there. And I thought it was just them being like, oh, it's grim up north, you know, and I'm from fucking Newcastle, man. It's not going to be as cold as Newcastle. Are you mad? But what I didn't realize is it's wet, bro.
It's wet.
It's
too
wet. Bleeding wet. It's not this wet in Newcastle, right? Although it has started getting this wet in Newcastle. Every time I'm there, it seems to be pissing it down, which again I think is
global warming,
right? But like, because I've just watched the weather change in my lifetime, at least. Maybe this happens every 10 years. I'm not old enough. But when I come to Manchester, I remember it was the first time I consciously invested in an umbrella because it rains so heavily every day. And it rained so much, like I had to look into it. I went on like a Wikipedia deep dive. I was like, what's going on?
What, really?
Why is this part of the world so fucking wet? Like, what's wrong with it? Like
the Pennines.
Pennines in the sea.
Yeah.
So the way, you teach, taught at school, the clouds evaporate and then they hit the Pennines, bang, unleash on Manchester and Liverpool.
So,
and I was like, oh.
Little Canada fact, same thing as Vancouver.
Oh, really?
Because you got the Rocky Mountains, so you have the ocean hitting the Rockies, everything gets drenched.
I imagine it must be something similar in Glasgow, because Glasgow's similar. Maybe it's not as bad, but it is similar. And it's just a shame, because you go west coast of America, and it's like, everything's so sexy, it never rains. It's like on the west coast of the UK, it's like, it's always wet, baby. And not in a sexy way. It's just awful.
It has droughts, it has forest fires. You need the water. Water lets us live.
But there's a balance.
Water lets you grow plants.
There's a balance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you need the sun.
Like, I don't want to, my parents moved away from India. I don't want to live in Mumbai, which is like rainy season and non-rainy season.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. I love Manchester, to be fair, and I would move back here, but I don't think global warming-wise, like, at some point you're going to need to turn your house into a houseboat.
I also feel like it doesn't rain hard here. For the most part, you'll have like the occasional hard rain.
I don't know. When I lived here, maybe I got a different experience. I felt like it pissed it down compared to like.
I'm comparing it to Canada.
We're
like, if you get a storm, you get a storm.
I'm comparing it to Newcastle, where I feel like it does rain hard now, but when I was growing up, it just felt like every morning was like a crisp winter morning.
Yeah.
It never felt like the rain was that regular and that heavy. Whereas here, it just felt like it was regular and heavy. And
here it feels like you've never really fully got the tap closed.
Yeah, exactly that. And it feels like spiking your hair sometimes is just a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I felt about Manchester weather.
What I genuinely miss from being back home is a fucking thunderstorm.
Like, you still get them?
Oh,
we had a beautiful one in North Wales.
On,
I've never seen a thunderstorm in Canada.
Oh,
I've seen one in Newcastle.
You think it's the end of days?
Really?
Dude, like some of the like a black cloud will come in, not even a dark cloud, like a black cloud comes in, just like you think you're all dying. Like it's so good.
I'd love to rip a Canadian weed and watch a Canadian storm, bro.
Dude,
that sounds intense.
Get in a high rise, close all your lights, just open the windows and just watch it.
One of them condos in Toronto. Oh my God.
But even so, like you could be on a lake and watch the storm roll in and watch all the lightning hit the water. Like it's so gorgeous, man.
Yeah, it sounds pretty gorgeous.
Yeah. But anyway, this is a comedy podcast. and then also we have to be aware that you have to make a train at 2.
Yeah, 2:20.
Oh, 2:20? Oh,
Victoria.
10. Oh, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So wait, how long have you been performing? You've been doing stand-up for what?
12 years now. I'm
sick, man. What's the biggest show you've ever played?
Depends how you define biggest. Numbers-wise, it's got to be the Leicester Fest Comedy Gala in 2023. That was, I think, about 2,000 people.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I was gutted because I was in the final of that Ricky Gervais competition. And I didn't place in the end, but if I'd won, I would have supported Ricky Gervais at Wembley. And that'd just be a nice thing to say, and 20,000 people I've gigged to. But I didn't win, and I think the winner deserved to win. Everyone who placed deserved to place. But 2,000 people's the biggest. But then I've always done other things that are big. You talk about numbers it would have appealed to, but it wasn't necessarily on a stage. Like I interviewed the England team and like hosted my own TV show before England played Bosnia in 2023. Seems like 2023 was my best year. It's all been downhill since then.
Nah,
did my biggest physical gig.
It's coming. It's coming.
Interviewed the England team. That was a belter though. I interviewed like Anthony Gordon, Kieran Trippier, and then I hosted the whole pre-match show, and that was like really exciting. And I was in the pub beforehand, and there I was on the telly, and everyone was watching it, and that would have gone to many houses in the UK. And I got paid by TKO for that, so
sick.
That's kind of crazy because they were a little bit late paying. Like it's fine, but it was kind of like I was just thinking in my head, like if they don't pay me, what I'm gonna do? I'm going to be like, hey, The Rock, I'll fucking knock you out. Just write a sternly worded letter to The Rock because he's the CEO. Like, what am I going to do there? The Rock owes me £1,000. What's going on?
Come on, Dwayne.
Yeah. How do I navigate that? I thought it was hilarious. But that was that was probably a really big one as well. And then when I did BBC Big Asian Comedy Night for the first time, that was 300 people at the Edinburgh Fringe. That was the biggest at its time. and that felt massive. But
Yeah.
I'd say now it's probably not as big. That always feels bigger because it's your first. But I think those 2 gigs are probably the biggest gigs I've done.
Well, also like doing like BBC Asia, like that's it feels like approval from the industry.
Yeah,
and when you get that first nod, it's huge.
I had approval from the Indians. You know what I mean? It was like my mum's favorite radio DJ, who was like the host, and he really liked me, and like, you know, they heard me on their radio station that I listened to every morning, and then as did all the family, who thought, oh, Raul's wasting his life pursuing some, you know, meaningless job that isn't going to pay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
man.
And then actually, like, everyone started coming to me at weddings, being like, "We're so proud of you," and I'm like, "No, you're not. You fucking lies. You're only proud of me because I got success."
Yeah, but you can't have that mentality. You just have to be like, yeah, this is what it is.
Nah, I just hit my auntie. Like, you lying bitch.
Fair.
Yeah, nobody's gonna listen to this podcast. This algorithm is shadow banning us. Anyway, I did not hit a woman. Just a joke.
Hitting women, defending the Taliban. Jeez.
You should never have gone to school. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so what about because I love asking this question about where's the weirdest place you performed? I feel like it's a thing where everybody's kind of got a story like, oh shit, I did a gig on a boat to 3 people. You were telling me earlier you did a show to no one?
Oh, aye.
But like,
do we have to talk about that?
well, no, like everybody's had like
So
those
actually,
Edinburgh Fringe
it
years.
ties into, like,
I assume it's Fringe.
Yeah, and it ties into that, so it shows you like the kind of like the extremity of the successes and failures of comedy. And every time,
Of course.
Every time someone comes up for a Fringe, I try and remind them, like, look, bro, look, sis, what you're gonna go through here is like a multitude of like wins and losses, crashes and highs that most people don't go through in their lifetime. You'll go through that in a day, because you'll do so many gigs. You'll be like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like a celebrity by next week, and then you do another one. You'll be like, I should kill myself, and like it'll be like 7 of them in a day, right? So I was having the producers come in the next day for BBC Big Asian Comedy Night to see if they wanted to put me on telly. It'd been a huge moment for me, and as the previous question shows, was a huge moment for me. But the day before, I was in this crap venue, this like group that don't exist anymore, called Freestival. Okay. They had these arches like off the beaten path, no like footfall. It was the only year I think I like struggled financially at the Fringe. Usually I've been like on the sort of main areas and been able to make money and get people in the show. But this one, pulled a lot of shows. And the next day, BBC Big Asia were coming. So I really want to get all my movements, sort of like almost do this like a play, rehearse my lines and stuff and get things right.
Yeah.
But nobody came to the show the night before. And I thought, well, I still want to be nailed down for tomorrow. So I'll do a rehearsal. So I did a whole hour show to nobody, except from about 20 minutes in, a guy walked into the room by accident and just sort of saw me performing quite theatrically to a room of nobody. He must have felt like he walked into a horror movie.
Oh my god.
He just kind of panicked and went, mate, are you okay? I went, no, leave me alone.
Did he leave?
Yeah, he just ran out the room.
Okay.
And then I continued with my show to nobody.
Also, I need to address this for everybody watching. You telling about the highs and lows of the Fringe, talking about how you performed to nobody, while you have a mountain of euros just spilling out of your wallet, being like, yeah, there's highs and lows, and also killing it.
That's because I'm going away, innit? Going on this road trip. And it's because actually I took them out. I always take the cash out of my wallet and leave it in my pocket due to...
you know, you can leave it in a bank, and you can have it in an app.
You can't have euros in a bank.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you can, yeah, but like, look, I just got some cash euros anyway. Right? I want to buy some cash things in Marseille, okay?
Okay.
Anywho's, yeah, but I always take the money out of my wallet. I never leave my wallet in the green room. Even though yesterday I was surrounded by very close friends and I could have trusted you all. I always used to do it, and I never used to think twice about leaving my cash in the wallet. But there was a story. I won't name names just because I'm too soft. But when I started in my early days, there was a series of like pickpockets in green rooms in the Northeast scene. Yeah. And it was this one act, and like I remember one time there was like apparently Northumbria Uni had 3 acts on, and 2 of the acts are like, oh my god, I've realized, oh my god, my wallet's been robbed, like my cash is in the air. And then the person who was doing the thieving was like, oh my god, yeah, my wallet's robbed as well. And then the SU manager's like, we've got CCTV, we'll see who's been in and out of the room, and then we'll call the police. And then the guy was like, yeah, call the police. And then he was like, oh, no, I don't think we should call the police. I don't think that's a big idea. But the best one, and I kind of like, while I would never respect pickpocketing from your colleagues, particularly when we're all in this together, you know, you're creating a dangerous environment or an unsafe environment where, you know, people can't trust one another. One prop I will give this person, like, just the audacity, I just thought it was mwah. So they was on a car share with somebody, right, female act. And while the female act went to fill in petrol and go and pay for the petrol, he went through their bag, nicked £20, and then as he was getting out, because he always used to run away from petrol money anyway, and they were like, "Oh, have you got the petrol money?" And he went, "Yeah." And he paid her with her petrol money with £20 he had just stolen from her. And I was like, "That's horrible," but that's also like that takes some fucking cojones. That's an audacity I could not match.
I love these stories, like the fucked up shit comics do, because we are in an industry full of narcissists.
Yeah, I say this. Yeah, I say everyone's on the scale of narcissism to empathy.
Yeah,
like you have to read the room. You can't read the room. You got no empathy, right? But to think your voice matters in a planet of 7 billion people, as Alfie Brown once said, and that you can charge for that. Like that's incredibly narcissistic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to have this kind of like delusion about yourself to get into it. But there's a comic in Toronto. I'm again not going to name names, but it was outside of Toronto, so I'm not even going to name the city because it'll figure out who it is. There was a comedy club. He did the weekend, and he was staying in that city. He did the club. They let him stay in the condo that weekend because he was staying with his mom, and he's like, "Oh, I'll stay in the condo." So he got a key copied. So while all the comics who usually stay at the condo on the weekends were playing at the club during the performing hours, he knows the club, like the condo, is going to be empty. He'd go in and he'd use that place to fuck girls.
That seems like a bit of a victimless crime.
But then one of the comics came back because he forgot his camera, caught him there with a woman being like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" Yeah, because like he could have been robbing. Nobody knows.
Yeah, why would you bring like sexy ass chicks?
Sure. Oh, sexy ass chicks. Now you're really picking this guy up.
I think he's a legend, bro. He's a legend living my dream. Burgle in a house for 2 hours a day and do some fucking like that's G shit, bro. That's homeless G shit, but it's G shit nonetheless. I love like a real like just bargain basement fraud, and that's what that is. Do you know what I mean? That's some TMU little levels of fraud.
Oh,
I'm here for it.
This specific person has like numbers of stories that we don't need to get into.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because he's probably
spread
a
them out
terrible
over the
person,
podcast.
actually.
Oh, horrible
It sounds like of all the things
person.
he's done, that's like it was Evan. Of all the things he's done, that doesn't seem the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That seems kind of funny and kind of just like, and I sort of been there. Like when I moved back with my parents.
Wait, you've been there? You've done that kind of thing?
No. But when I moved back with my parents after the pandemic, I mean, I'm not alive anyway. Like I would tell the girls I'm meeting on Tinder and that I am living with my parents. That's unfortunately where I am. And mainly I was doing it. I could have rented, but I just thought I'd rather save that money anyway. Do you know what I mean? If I'm not allowed out the house anyway, what's the point in having a gaff? But trying to meet girls was hard when you're like, I'm living with my parents.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I got this cool ass condo that's only available between the hours of 8 and 10 p.m. That's kind of a flex. Do you know what I mean? But the weirdest places I've gigged, coming back to that question.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
I probably would say, I mean, they're not weird because they're great gigs. Rick Hulse is like, I just love the weird characters you get to meet on the road doing this thing. Like the absolute,
for sure.
Outside the box individuals where you're just like, yeah, you're obviously going to do comedy because like you were never going to do anything that was sort of normal, were you? Like Rick Hulse is one of these guys. He runs a hedgehog sanctuary, and he's a motorcyclist, and he runs gigs for like these biker friends of his, and I've done quite a lot of them, and they're absolutely belting. Everyone's in leather, drinking brown ale, having a good time. And one was like, it was just beautiful. Like it wasn't even weird, but it was just like kind of just where it was unique. Where it was just like in a really beautiful castle in Portsmouth to all these motorcyclists. And I was like, this is an absolute belter of a gig.
Yeah, I've heard about these gigs where it's like 300 to 500 like motorcyclists.
Yeah, they're really good. They're
all
really fun.
They
pay well. He runs them well.
They run late.
Yeah, they run late.
Yeah.
He always does like loads. But like he's a good guy. As I say, he's got his charity work. He got his hedgehog sanctuary. That's his cause. That's what he chose to. That's his hill. He's trying to down. But he's a lovely guy. He does his bits. Those gigs are wonderful. But like in a castle in Portsmouth, looking at 500 people next to their motorcyclists, I was just like, wow, what is my life? That is crazy. And they're the moments where I kind of go like, yeah, like what is my life? When I do these weird gigs, I remember doing one, a couple in the Netherlands. The first gig in the Netherlands was kind of crazy. This guy, like, he got so high. Like, he was the promoter. He said he was going to pay me like €500 on the night and give me a hotel. But the hotel was like on this hippie boat that the venue was on.
Yeah.
It was on this hippie boat that the venue was in. There was no lock on the door. And it was just like, he got so high, he forgot to set up the till.
Oh,
he
no.
didn't promote the show. So he gave me like 30 euros on the night, and then gave me this room without a lock on it. I was just on this hippie boat.
Oh.
These hippies like kind of did hippie shit all night. I was just kind of, it's kind of crazy. I know another one. I did one in a Dutch village of like 6,000 people, and the only thing that's come out of this village is the De Boer brothers. Like nobody else knows anything about it, right?
Yeah.
6,000 people, and everyone was in Dutch except for me, and I was the MC.
Okay.
So I'd be coming on after somebody done a set in Dutch, and I'd be like, "Oh, it was great, wasn't he? Was he?" I have no idea what he just said. Do you know what I mean?
You just have to go based on vibes.
Yeah, and I just based on vibes alone, just feel the audience, right? Hear it. I remember I was talking to one guy, and he was like, I was like, "Hello, mate, what's your name? Where are you from?" And he just started going, "No! No! No!" And I was like, what the fuck? And everyone around him started laughing. The whole room started laughing. But it seemed like he was having some sort of traumatic flashback. And his daughter just like, his English isn't very good. And he's quite embarrassed about it. And I was like, all right, moving on. Like, that was a very bizarre gig. Because it's just like, how do I make the room comfortable? I didn't bring a funny sort of Mr. Bean style energy to it. Because it was just like, I don't know what is happening. And that kind of like this idiot abroad kind of made it.
Man.
But it was a bit like, what am I doing here? I think it wasn't the weirdest gig of my life. One of the weirdest moments.
Well, like, unlike a lot of other comedians, you're one of the ones, and like, it is an elite few who's done a lot of the world. Like, the amount of countries you've done is probably up there in like the top, what, 2%, 3%?
I've done most of Europe now. I've done India. I've done Australia, New Zealand. I've done that Southeast Asian.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah, I mean, for me, comedy was more of a... I love comedy, don't get me wrong, and I really appreciate and respect and love the craft, but it was also a way for me to leverage go traveling, because I love my backpacking years, and I love my interrailing, and I love learning, man. Like, it's not the writing the jokes and the telling them so much that, like, really, like, when I put a TikTok out there, I've just put a TikTok out today about why people from South Shields are called sand dancers, and, you know, it's getting a lot of views, a lot of clicks. So what about Earl Grey? I put it out yesterday. It's at 50,000 views. And people are like, wow, I didn't realise that he was the one to find Lane Slater in the British Empire. But like, as much as I get a buzz off telling people that, I got a bigger buzz off learning. Do you know what I mean? And when I get to go to these foreign places and like learn a bit more about the world and about what makes us human, that for me is like fucking having a big fat wank. Like I jizz off that shit. There was a better way of putting that. This algorithm is really going to ban us. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I made it so pervy, but it really does get me going. It makes me feel alive.
Yeah,
like,
man.
So if I have an excuse to travel, even if I'm just about going to break even or lose a few £100, I will fucking do it. And there's enough going on for me in England that I can subsidise the travelling gigs.
But it's also that spark and that energy and that passion that makes it like makes people want to watch you and follow you and learn that things from you.
Oh, thank you, yeah. Maybe but I just have a lust for life. I have a lust for the world. Now, I'm an eternal optimist. I think for the most part, even though we're going through a bit of a bad time of history, I'm a historian. I always look at the bigger picture. I don't think like some of my jokes aren't like, well, what's going on in the last 50 years? I'm like, well, what's been happening for 2,000 years? We as human beings, like there are certain things that we just keep doing. Do you know what I mean? Romance is a very old genre. Do you know what I mean? Romeo and Juliet, backstabbing, betrayal, whether it's Caesar, whether it's... And these are all things that can, like, filter into comedy. Do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to always think a little bit bigger picture, a little bit deeper.
Well, it's amazing, right? Because, like, doing the comedy club here every night, you see so many comics. But when you go up, we've never had people, like, come up to you or us be like, that was so important. Like, your set wasn't only funny, but, like, it was good to like it bridge people together, bringing everyone together.
That comes from there's a real root in that. It's kind of annoying because that's what Bennett says. Like Steve Bennett in Chortle keeps saying like it's very important. He's not funny, but he's like very important. Like I think Bennett like thinks about my writing. It's not really, but he's always like one of the most important shows at the Fringe. That's a quote of his. I think it's because of a multitude of things. I mean, I remember when I was starting out and all this sort of like where we're at now with the flag waving and the migrant hotels and all this kind of stuff. Once upon a time, it was like sort of just like little bits of UKIP and this, that, and the other. And I remember I wrote a joke back then, and that's when things were starting to get divisive. And I was like, Nick Griffin, leader of the BNP, called Nigel Farage a racist. He genuinely did. Like this was a newspaper article. Yeah. And the joke was like he genuinely said like he's racist because he wants to send just the Poles back. I would send everybody back, which I thought was funny in itself. And then I was like talking about the pot calling the kettle a packy. And for this brief moment, I had people like I just look around, I see everybody laughing. I knew people were different political, but I see people on the left laughing because of the irony, and I'd see people on the right laughing maybe it's because of the word. You know what I mean? And whether that's all right or not, whether I'm justifying them. For me, it was this brief moment where I thought two things. I thought, like, number one, I'm bringing people together in a very divisive world, and I want to keep doing that. That makes me happy, and I think it's something. I don't know, but it's something I feel is important, and I keep chasing it. Maybe I'm wrong, do you know what I mean? But also, the second thing I thought was, Well, do you know, I think it's important where, for, a lot of people who maybe never met or humanize an ethnic minority and they think we're just what they see in the papers, like terrorists, or like I've got like my fucking upbringing was like multicultural as fuck. Like my grandparents were white working class, fought in the war. My auntie was Chinese. I had a black best friend. I had Pakistani Muslim best friends. I had loads of white working class, middle class, upper class best friends. Like my upbringing was like fascinatingly multicultural, and this idea that it was all just like white until like 2005, and then suddenly there was this influx of like ethnic minorities. I think that's a bad. I think it's a false narrative. But I also think this whole idea of like fucking like whites are capable of no good, and like they've got this extra genetic that makes them prone to colonialization. I think that's a bunch of shit as well. Do you know what I mean? I think when people like slate white men, like I think of my granddad, and that annoys me. Do you know what I mean? Because that man loved 3 ethnic minority children unconditionally, just out of the kindness of his heart. So, do you know what I mean? He groomed me, but in a nice way. Like, he's the reason I'm a Newcastle fan. And because it's such a tense discussion at the minute, and everyone's kind of in their sides, I think it's really, it's fucking helping me, guys. So thank you. Well, keep putting them flags up, keep painting them roundabouts, because you're doing favour for Big Razzler over here.
Well, so what has the future got in store for you? Because you've put so much energy into football, and you've found success in like doing like broadcasting and going to shows, doing that kind of stuff, being engaged in that world. You're traveling, you're filling that part in your soul. You're teaching, you're educating. Would you ever find your way doing like you're doing politics on stage, but would you do more politics outside of that?
No, I don't want to do any more politics even on stage, to be honest. Like, the way I do politics is I just reflect on my lived experience. I'm not really telling anyone how to think. That's important for me. But nowadays, bro, like, you can't even put a fucking video on TikTok without being accused of something or the other, or, do you know what I mean? That Earl Grey one, I've had people being like, so a lady, she just commented being like, didn't think I'd be putting this on a comedy sketch, but Earl Grey actually trafficked Irish women and girls to settlers in like the colonies. And I was like, well, I just, in my head, I was just like, that's terrible, and I'm really, really sorry about that, and that sounds awful, but like, listen, I'm sure he did some bad things. This particular thing I'm talking about, where he ended slavery, was a good thing. You know what I mean? Human beings and history is nuanced. Do you know, recent history, Indians cancelled their Diwali celebration in Ireland because they were facing so much racist attacks. I'm not going to put that on you or all of Ireland. Do you know what I mean? But I will just focus, I will choose, and I will always choose to focus on the good things that have happened over the history of humanity, and see how we can continue to like do more good things and have a bit of a better time, because
put the positivity in the world.
Because we could focus on the negativity all we want, but I'm just not sure how much. I think there's an eternal battle between justice and peace, and sometimes you're not going to get the justice you're looking for, but if we can get a peace, then that means we can all keep like, I just want to, like, I think the world's a big disco. If there's a fight kicking off over there, I can't dance in peace. I'm just trying to make sure we can all have a nice dance in peace. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing whatever little bit I can towards that, and I think every human being over time that has just raised their family well, not abused anyone, and these little people that don't really get on their headlines, but also the people who are leading countries and stuff like that, which again, just there's lots of good stuff that has happened of the history of humanity that we have got to this point where once upon a time this used to be the most dangerous street in the United Kingdom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this area of Manchester was, now look, you just got 2 people having a nice chat. Like, I think that's beautiful, and I think we should always seek to chase things that allow for that.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful, man. Thank you so much for coming to do the podcast.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Is there anything you need to plug, or anything want to plug?
If you've got viewers in Australia, I'm taking a history comedy show where 3 comedians do 10 minutes as their favourite historical character, and comedians drinking games where comedians try to make you laugh. And if they don't, they have to do a shot, and some of them can't stand by the end of the 10-minute set. To the Perth, Adelaide, and Melbourne Fringes. I'm also taking the history comedy show to the Leicester Comedy Festival, but I won't be there. I'll be having somebody else MC, and somebody else be doing the characters. So if that is your bag, if you've enjoyed the anthropology stuff I've been talking about today, get me on the social medias at Raul Kohli Comic and get a ticket to one of those shows.
Thank you guys for listening. Take care.